students, how are you? This is Miss Rahila Nazim. Today I will teach you poem Casabianca. This poem is written by Felicia Dorothea Hemel. She was born in 1793 and she was died in 1835. She was born at Liverpool, but the family moved to Wales, where she was brought up. She was quick in mind and had a fine memory. As a poet, she had been compared to Longfellow. Like Cowper, she loved the pathetic, and there is great enthusiasm for chivalry and heroism in her work. She also stressed moral values. Now I am reading the poem. The boy stood on the burning deck, whence all but he had fled. The flame that lit the battle wreck shone round him over the red. Yet beautiful and bright he stood, as born to rule the storm, a creature of heroic blood, a proud, thought, childlike form. Third stanza. The flame rolled on, he would not go without his father's word. That father faint in death below, his voice no longer heard. He called aloud, "Say, father, say, if yet my task is done." He knew not that the shepherd lay unconscious of his son. "Speak, father," once again he cried, "if I may yet be gone." But the booming shots replied, and fast the flames rolled on. Next stanza. Upon his brow he felt their breath, and in his waving hair, and looked from that lone post of death in a still yet brave despair. Next stanza. And shouted, but once more aloud, "My father, must I stay?" While over him fast through sail and shroud the wrathing voice made way. Next stanza. They wrapped the ship in splendor wide. They caught that flag on high, and streamed above the gallant child, like banners in the sky. Next stanza. There came a burst of thunder sound. The boy, oh, where was he? Asked of the winds that far around. With fragments stood the sea. Next stanza. With mast and helm and pennon fair, that well had borne their part, but the noblest thing which perished there was that young faithful heart. This was the poem, and now I will explain the stanza. Now the stanza number 1. In these lines, poetess tells that Casabianca was standing on the board of the ship, which was on fire. He was standing alone, while all others had left the ship. The flames of fire rising on all sides. These flames were shining over dead bodies of the soldiers killed in the battle. Now stanza number 2. The explanation of stanza 2. In these lines, poetess tells that the boy stood on the board of the ship in spite of burning flames. He looked very handsome in the light of these flames. It seemed that he was born to govern over storms. He had inherited nobility from his forefathers. Though he was of tender age, he looked brave and proud to carry out the command of father. Now the stanza number 3. In these lines, poetess says that flames rushed at Casabianca, but he had resolved not to leave the place unless his father permitted him. His father was lying dead in the lower part of the ship, so his voice could not be heard no more. Now stanza number 4. In these lines, poetess tells that the boy called his father in a loud voice. He asked whether the duty assigned to him was complete or not. He did not know that commander of the ship was unaware about the condition of his son. Now stanza number 5. In these lines, poetess tells that the boy again cried and asked his father if he could go. He wanted to say more, but his voice was drowned in the midst of heavy noise of guns and the flames rush on very fast. Now stanza number 7. Stanza number 6. Stanza number 6. In these lines, poetess says that the flames rush at the boy. He felt their heat on his forehead and in waving hair. Though he knew that his death was near, but he stood quiet and calm. He looked around him from place of death with bold heart, though he was disappointed. Now stanza number 7. In these lines, poetess says that boy once again cried out in loud voice. He wanted to know if it was necessary for him to stay there. Just then, the flames rushed through sails and ropes. Now, stanza number 8. In these lines, poetess tells that the flames surrounded the ship and covered it on all sides. They even reached the flag, which was flying very high. They also surrounded the brave boy like the flag's shadows in the sky. Now, stanza number 9. Next stanza. In these lines, poetess tells that suddenly a loud noise was heard there, and his body blown into bites. Only the winds could say which were blowing around the boy. That where was he? Now the stanza number 10. In these lines, poetess tells that part played by mast, rudder and the flag flying on mast is praiseworthy. But the noblest thing which died there was the young, obedient and disciplined heart. That was Casabianca. Now, there are some difficult words in this poem. Now I am going to tell the meaning of these words. The deck, the floor of a ship, the battle wreck. The ship had become a wreck after being damaged in the fighting. Heroic blood, the blood of great and noble people. The boy had inherited greatness and nobility from his forefathers. A chieftain, a chief, a leader. Unconscious, unaware, not knowing. To boom, to make a deep, echoing sound as of guns. A shroud, one of the rope stretching from the mast to the side of a ship. Wrapped, gallant, brave. A banner, a flag or standard. Stood covered with small pieces. The mast, a thick, tall pole of wood or metal to which a ship's sails are tied. Helm, wheel for steering a ship. A pennon, a narrow flag flown from the top of the mast. These were the difficult words in this poem. Now I have explained the stanza and difficult words meaning. This is the end of the chapter.